Hey everyone, it's Sally Estlin from Magic Mike Moments. How are you all doing? So today I'm extremely excited to sit down and have a chat with my very good friend Maureen Callister. Welcome, Maureen.
Hi, Sally. How you going? Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
yes, I am so excited to talk about your story. But before we get into that, I thought I might just intro you with a little bio. So
Okay.
just you can sit back and listen to how wonderful you are. So, as a seasoned natural therapist based in Sydney, Australia, you're dedicated to guiding individuals and families towards holistic well-being. With a focus on alternative complementary solutions, you specialise in addressing both physical ailments and mental emotional challenges. And your passion lies in nurturing better family relationships, assisting mothers in finding the delicate balance between self-care and family responsibility. And if that isn't a hardship, so you're a compassionate advocate for teenagers and young adults too, and you help them navigate the intricate journey into adulthood. And isn't that a challenge? Your expertise extends to supporting clients in overcoming early childhood trauma, fostering self-esteem, and instilling confidence. You're rooted in a spiritual, soul-based approach, and your aim is to illuminate the uniqueness of each individual, transcending societal roles. In your pursuit of a harmonious world, you envisage a place where people experience peace, joy, and fulfillment. And through your written work, you seek to clarify and articulate new age concepts on health and well-being, ensuring they are accessible and comprehensible to a diverse audience. Your ultimate goal is to contribute to a collective understanding of the precious and individual nature of every single person, fostering a sense of purpose and fulfillment in their lives. Wow. Well, if that's not an introduction, babe.
Yeah.
Look at
Gosh, when
you.
did I write that? I was on fire that day.
You are a wealth of wisdom. I'm just going to change my back screen. But, I just love how you're particularly focusing on teenagers, on
Yeah.
families, because that is such a pivotal time of change, isn't it? And
Well,
so,
I know it was so hard for me at the time, and I think that's why I've got that empathy. And I do understand how hard it is. And the kids are our future. If we
yeah,
can't get them right, that's where we come from. We're all a product of, our upbringing, our nature and our nurture, God help us,
I know.
you know. And we talked about this before. It's only through your own experience and your own suffering and your own,
Mm,
trying to fix yourself
yeah.
that you realize, how to try and navigate and be the person. I would say be the person you could have been or should have been
Yes.
had your upbringing maybe been kinder or whatever the issue
This
is,
is definitely a time of enlightenment. And I think this is
Oh,
definitely
yeah,
a time where people can step up and own their stuff, even as teenagers, right? It's just like
absolutely. Yeah.
having that awakening, because you can't change what you don't know. So you're
Yeah.
helping people delve into the deeper layers of themselves so that they can understand themselves better, find their own strengths and weaknesses and work with those.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important. For sure. And I find more and more of the kids that are coming through they do have a sense of awareness and they've got
Mm.
really big souls that have come in to do some amazing work.
So sensitive,
And
right?
yeah, so sensitive. And they realize that the game we're all playing, this mad rushing around, doing, what do you call it, the mouse on the wheel, it's
Yeah.
just, they're not buying it. A lot of
Yeah, the
them.
hamster
Oh,
wheel.
if they
No,
can, yeah,
they're,
they're gone.
I know through
The
my own.
9 to 5,
Yeah.
I always laugh at it. Like you got to give 110%. They're going, what's all that about? Like,
Well,
what am I doing?
yeah, well, they're growing up with the ethos of working smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
And,
100%.
we were the reverse of that. So,
Yeah,
they are very enlightened. So if we dial it back a little bit, I mean, you've
yeah.
had so many adventures in your life, but what were some of the challenges that you've had and overcome along your journey to get to where you are today?
As you know, as you said in the bio, I just love working with family because it was family in a way that those are the early challenges that we all have. And in fact, with my work, I love going back to all the early childhood trauma. And not that my family had terrible trauma, but I'm from a big Irish Catholic family. I had 6 brothers and my sister and I, so there were 8 of us. Poor old mum and dad had a tough time. And we grew up on a little farm in Ireland, the classic kind of story, and everybody
Yeah.
was doing the best they could. But with so much going on, and I was the older daughter. I had 2 boys older than me, but I was the eldest girl. So from a very early age, I was trying to help mum with all the kids. Because when I was 3, she already had 3 more children. Two of my brothers were born 11 months apart, and then my sister came along. So I think looking back on it, my understanding is I grew up so quickly and I took on way too much responsibility. And what I've come to learn, if you've got a lot of, if you feel, because it's our perception, right?
Yeah.
If you feel you've got a lot of responsibility, but you don't have the power, and a child doesn't have any power. So I explain to a lot of my clients, if you've got a lot of responsibility and not much power, because you're not meant to, this gap in the middle, that can just destroy your self-esteem.
And that's being rooted from a young age. So you're
3 years of age.
Yeah.
The rest of your life. Because you're looking at all the things you want to do. Like, I want to help mom. I want to make mom happy. And I want to keep everybody, you know, the peace and quiet so that we can all live together happily. Because if we're not all getting on, something's going to happen. You know, you're terrified as a little child. Your survival depends on your mother being okay, right? And your father being okay. And if they're not okay, you're going, well, this is all going to fall apart. So you're doing everything you can to hold everybody together.
Yeah.
But I use the analogy, if you're a little kid and you're looking up, and metaphorically speaking, at this big pile of responsibility, and you're looking at it and going, what's wrong with me? Why can I not fix this? Why can I not do all the things I want to do? Why am I not being effective? Why am I not being productive? Why am I not able to make a difference? So this is why I say it can destroy your self-worth. So I had pretty damaged self-worth growing up most of the time.
When do you think this insight landed for you?
Well, it actually wasn't until my daughter was 3.
Wow. So that long?
That long.
Wow.
I mean, I function perfectly normally, as most people do out in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed sometimes how well we do function, don't you? With some of the crappy upbringings we've had, you know, and the damage we've done to ourselves.
I know, but you know what? This is the enlightening time. And it doesn't matter what age you're at, because once you have that awareness. I've got one too. Chin chin, babe. But it's just like, and this is where you can help people work through that stuff as teenagers, so they don't have to get to their late 20s, 30s, 40s.
Absolutely. The sooner you can do that stuff, the better.
Unburden yourself, because it weighs you down, doesn't it? It affects all your decisions, your relationships with people. Everything. Yeah.
Because if you don't have good self-esteem and self-worth. So my judgment was I wasn't effective. I wasn't able to do, you know, I wasn't able to make my mom happy. I wasn't able to keep everybody happy. I mean, bless her, I understand our mom was just completely exhausted.
Yeah.
You know, and going through menopause and trying to look after 8 kids, you know,
my God.
It was, you know, and wet and cold and misery of growing up in Ireland, especially in the winters and stuff in those days. We're talking 60 odd years ago.
And also, your parents would have been functioning on how they knew from their
exactly. Right? Everybody is doing the best they can.
Yeah.
But going back and then having, instead of beating ourselves up all the time, realizing, you know, it wasn't my fault that they weren't happy. But of course, the child doesn't know that. So you're going, I'm useless. I'm, you know, worthless. I can't achieve anything. So, but we create within us that cycle of judging ourselves and being hard on ourselves and that negative self-talk. And we drive ourselves mad, right?
Oh, that has been the theme today. This is my 3rd podcast today. And the theme of judgment has come through and how it affects us. And it limits us. It keeps us small. Look, self-esteem, self-worth, that is a core issue of absolutely.
And if you don't have those things, you can't accept yourself. Because you don't want to accept yourself as being useless and worthless and incapable and incompetent. Because at the core of it, that's how you think you are. And you think that's how everybody's judging you, because that's your version of yourself in the world. So then there's no chance you're going to have any self-love.
Well, that's right. And that's the core of everything. And it's about the unconditional with no conditions attached. Can you imagine loving yourself with, you know, warts and all?
No judgment.
No judge. It is. And we laugh about this often, you know, trying not to judge ourselves for just right?
I know.
With our daily decisions.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I've spent years and years and years, like I've been doing this work for nearly 30 years, like 25 so years. And I've learned that, all the time I'm trying to fix myself and fix myself and fix myself. So the more you try to fix yourself, you're actually reinforcing that there's something wrong with you.
Yes. It's so right. Rather than stopping and just going, what am I doing this for? I'm okay.
I'm all right. I'm a good person,
Yeah.
My favorite word is enough. Enough.
Enough.
Enough.
Enough. I love it.
But it's hard to
love
do.
it.
It's hard to do it.
It's so hard. Yeah, the theme this week has just been let go of it all. Just let go. Just let go.
Yeah.
Just let go. That's my mantra. Let go, step up
Yep.
more. And yours
Absolutely.
is enough. It's just, I've had enough.
Yes.
We all had that growing up.
Yeah.
Your mum would be yelling,
you should do this, do that. No. When we spent, as you know, I was 4 years in Dubai, and in Arabic, they've got a great word for enough. It's called halas. And they kind of go, halas.
Right, yeah.
Enough.
Wiping their hands of it, right?
Enough. They do this. Enough.
I wonder if this is where this all came from. Just some wiping their hands of it.
Done.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really,
I like it, isn't it? It's good.
Yeah, the energy, right? You can feel it just going enough. You're cutting it, you're cutting it, you're cutting it. So how old were you when you came out to Australia? Like, what was the reason to get you out here?
I was 20 something. Well, of course, at the time I thought, going on a big adventure, which I was. But as I've recognized years later, I was running away.
Yeah, right.
I've got to get out of here. I've got to get a fresh start. I've got to go somewhere new. And I was a hostie in London. So I lived in London for 4 years as a trolley dolly.
Trolley dolly, yep.
Flight attendant with British Airways. And we did mostly European stuff, all the short haul, as they called it. But I came down to Australia on a holiday a couple of times. And I just fell in love with Sydney. It was amazing. I felt like I'm home.
Yeah, that vibe, right? Don't you? You just relate to that.
I was walking around the Upper House and round towards Mrs. Macquarie's chair. I'm standing there looking out at the harbour, and I went, I am home. I don't know why. Maybe I had a past life here or something, but I just went,
I know that spot, and it gets me every single time.
Beautiful.
I think she sat there and looked out at the harbour, and it is just so magical. And heads up now, they're not trolley dollies or hosties; they're called cabin crew or
That's right.
crew. It's all correctness and all this madness, but anyway, moving on, because you are such an amazing, amazing person. What do you reckon is your superpower, the essence of you, or why are people drawn specifically to you?
Well, I mean, I knew you were going to ask me this question, and it made me think of, it's kind of my determination and my constant why. So constantly, why? Like I remember going to the doctors years ago when the kids were little, and I was having problems with my hip, and I said to the doctor, there's a problem with my hip. What shall I do? And she said, we'll give you some anti-inflammatories. And I said, what anti-inflammatories? I want to know why my hip is sore. And she went, what do you mean? And I said, why is my hip sore? And she's going, like, she almost couldn't get what I was getting at.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I want to know why. And she said, well, look, we give you the anti-inflammatories. If it works, we know it's inflammation. If it doesn't work, there's something else.
Right.
And I thought, to me, that was bizarre. I wanted to look at the structure and the function of what's going on. Why is my hip sore? So there's that. And I've literally been described. I got a testimonial from a client, and she said, Maureen is like a dog with a bone.
Yeah.
She will not let go until I've got to the root cause. I will dig and dig and dig. I will go to the root cause of what someone's issues are.
Yeah.
So I don't give up. I mean, sometimes I can probably be a bit of a pain in the bum. But, I was talking to someone recently, and we've discovered that I've probably got sensitivities to amines, in some of the cured meats and rich food and different things like that. So she said, okay, you need to avoid amines. And I said, but, so I said, she's a nutritionist, she's a doctor of nutrition. And I said, so why do people have sensitivities to amines? And again, she went, what do you mean? And I said, but why? And she goes, well, some people just do. And I'm going, but why? I want to know why.
You were literally a private investigator or a detective, and you put on, and you just want to get to the bottom of it. That was very nice of them to say a dog with a bone. I'd probably say you're more like a Rottweiler. jumps on and won't undo its jaw.
Oh, well, not let go.
You can see them, just trying to hope it's not, I'm not giving up.
Yeah. And again, going into the subconscious and the unconscious, I know you love all that stuff too, but we don't know what we don't know.
That's right. I mean, our conscious mind is just the tip of the iceberg.
Tip of the iceberg.
Water, it's so much down there. Look, I think that is absolutely your superpower. I've never met anybody who wires so much. Why is this so? Was that Dr. Sumner DeMella or whatever is Sumner DeMella, that scientist that used to be on telly? Were you out here when he was with the white curly hair?
No, I don't think so.
So was his line.
Why is this so? Yes.
Yeah. So
keep going until you find out. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So with all the people that you're working with, what do you think is the biggest issue facing them generally?
Anxiety seems to be the biggest one. I think it used to be depression. I think now it's more anxiety.
Really? See, depression is more about being stuck to the past.
Stuck in the past. Yeah. And I always say it's more from the heart, depression. And I find depression, compared to anxiety, relatively easy to get rid of to some point. But a lot of people with anxiety also have depression because, as you know, it's that switching from one step to the other.
Yeah.
And they can't get the balance in the mind or in the thyroid and stuff like that. But if they can't get themselves out of the past. So as we talked before, that depression coming from the heart, it's grief, regret, what happened before that I can't let go of. And what the burden of everything weighing us down.
This is when you need to do this.
Yeah, let it go. Absolutely. But you've got to know what it is. You see, a lot of people don't even know what's causing it. What are they not letting go of? Because they've suppressed it so much. It's gone down into the subconscious and the unconscious.
It's under the level. You can't see it, right?
And they've lost. If they knew, they could let it go. But if they don't know, there's nothing they can do. So that's where the skill is. With the muscle testing, tapping into the unconscious and going back and finding out where it's come from.
That just reminded me. So you might be the why is it so girl, but you're also the let's see how it tests up. You test up.
Oh, yes, test everything. No, it doesn't test, does it?
Test up from wine to whatever it is. It doesn't matter.
Everything. And we laugh in the family because I get on their nerves, obviously testing everything all the time. But we started to laugh and I go, the thing in Little Britain? And they go, muscle says no. Muscle says no. Like the computer says no.
You're a muscle testing queen for sure. So just building on from that anxiety being the biggest thing, what would be 3 top tips that you would like to share about how to work with that, or based on all your experience and knowledge, just to help them?
The biggest thing I find for most people, and again, coming from the early childhood trauma, I think we have all been heavily conditioned to be what I call externally orientated. We're all obsessed with what's going on out around us, and we're not connected with what's actually going on inside. So I go on and on and on about the internal orientation. Because I've learned this, because I've had to, this has been part of, as we all do, we learn out of necessity for ourselves. But to come in and feel your feelings and to be honest with yourself about what's going on. And it's come from survival, like I was explaining, I'm not safe until my mother and father are steady and happy. And I'm not safe until the person that I see over here suffering in front of me, like I can be in a restaurant eating my dinner, quite happily. And then I'll look across the room and as an empath, as so many of us healers are, you look across the restaurant and I can pick a woman up on the other side of the room and she's not happy. Well, then I kind of can't settle until and my husband will go, can you not?
You never turn off, because then you know the story in your head, what's going on here.
What's going on over there? But you're learning now, come back inside, but we want to make everybody around us happy, But also the social media, I think, has caused those expectations of how we should be all the time. And we've got to just try not to take it seriously. So my big number 1 would be internal orientation. Come into yourself. And I breathe.
Yeah, I love that. Breath is everything. Well, it's energy, isn't it? And it can really calm you down.
But And again, why? So I go do the why. So I go, okay, why do we need to breathe? So the biggest reason is it's the quickest way to get out of that fight flight, the sympathetic nervous system. So you've got to get out of the fight flight sympathetic response and get your body into the parasympathetic, the rest and digest. And the breath is the best way to achieve that. And for some people who've got a lot of anxiety, if you're in a panic attack, then that's going to take some time sometimes, you know, but there is no better way to do it. So I go, come in, breathe, and ground.
Yeah, I love
Because
that.
you've got to get the energy out of your head, because we're all up in our head. The head's going, 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 going. If you've got anxiety, particularly if you're in a panic attack, the fear is completely overwhelming.
Paralyzing.
Right?
Yeah.
Paralyzing. I've had one panic attack. I had it a couple of years ago. Oh my God. I think it was good that I had, it was horrible, horrible. You can't explain it to someone who's never had one. So I think it was important, didn't want to have it, but it was important that I got it, because I really understand now just how debilitating and how frightening it is. Like, I thought I was going to die there, right there and then.
Yeah, because you can't breathe properly. I've had a couple, and I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy.
No.
It is
my tongue felt like it was swollen up and it was going all numb. My whole body went massive pins and needles and then went numb.
Yeah. I actually interviewed a lady 6 months ago or something, and she has very high anxiety, and she's developed this little whistle that you blow into. It's a pendant.
I
so
think
you
I've
use
heard of
breath
these. Yes.
calm down the vagus nerve.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, very, very powerful. So it's just a pendant. Anytime she starts to feel anxious, just blow music. Because
because you're in the middle of a panic attack, it's very tricky to come out. You've just got to wait for it to pass over. But that's easier said than done. So before you get to that stage, if you can feel that you're starting to get anxious, then, you know, stop, come into yourself, breathe, ground, and, you know, just be kind to yourself.
Yeah, be kind to yourself. I think that's a good one. Be kind to yourself.
And just go, you're doing your best you can. I always go, you're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Everything's okay. You've got to get that almost rant going in your head.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because once again, it's the thoughts that, you know.
And exactly as you and I have talked about, but just for everybody's listen to be really clear. So we've said that depression was in the past, and anxiety most of the time is going into the future and then putting negative connotations on it. So we create it, of course, you know.
I was going to say that, because we always say it's a negative projection of the future. Shit that hasn't even happened. And we're worrying about it in a negative way. Oh my God, I'm going to fail this exam or whatever. Cool. So it's like
and if someone explained to me what is worry, worry is literally even just mild worry is going into the future and putting negative thoughts on it.
Absolutely. And
so another key there then is to go into if you really have to think about your exams next week or what's going to happen at Christmas or something like that, you know, then you've got to go, well, how would you like it to be? You know, and I've said, if it's really something that's really bothering you, I highly recommend to my clients that you write it down, like get pen and paper and go create this. Because we would have, you know, we talked about manifestations and stuff before, but you've got to start creating. Well, how do I want Christmas to be? What are my boundaries here? If they've got a load of people coming over or whatever your issue is.
Yeah, because we are the master creators. So we can manifest and materialize, because everything is intention. And, you know, once you get into that driver's seat of intention, magic can happen. Absolutely. So, you know, you know, I've got this other little mantra, let go, step up and be more. So over your journey, what do you think you've sort of let go of the most, and where have you stepped up the most to just be more of you?
Well, probably the biggest letting go is still working on it some days, but like try not to beat yourself up so much. Slow down, be kinder, more compassion, and, you know, stop beating yourself up so much. You're doing okay. You're doing the best you can. Is like one of those big ones.
And where do you reckon you've stepped up the most?
My big stepping up, still working on it, is stepping into your power. You know? Because I'm big into the chakras. I usually have my chart up over here, but I've got my Metatron's cube.
It's right up my alley.
I move them around. But love all the chakras. And I used to think that all that enough stuff that I'm talking about is mostly, to me, it's really in the sacral chakra, where all that emotional stuff is. And guilt in the sacral chakra, massive for just keeping us small. But as I've kind of worked through the sacral, I've moved up into the solar plexus. So it's my new favorite. The
You
solar plexus is all about your personal power.
love it. It's one of my faves, that courage.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just love the solar plexus because it is so empowering. It's your empowering.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
like that.
But I always go, you have to take responsibility for yourself. You
Yep.
have to individuate is what happens. And in the 7-year cycle in those, that's 14 to 21. So it's that teenage years.
Yeah.
Like learning, how do I be who I choose to be? You know, who am I going to be? Because you're at that stage of growing up and becoming an adult.
Finding your identity. Yeah.
Oh, it's really the worst, the hardest. But anyway, once you kind of realize that you've got choice, like be kind to yourself, make some choices. There's no right way or wrong way.
Yeah.
You know, you get to choose.
Yeah.
So you get to choose who you want to be and then take responsibility for yourself. As we become adults, we have to stop blaming our parents or stop blaming the school or stop blaming someone or something. You're becoming an adult. So be responsible for yourself, not in a negative way, because when you have responsibility, you've got power.
Yes.
You know, you think of any powerful people like politicians or, you know, CEOs or someone who's responsible for a lot of money or responsible for other people. They've got power. They've got authority, or they should have. If they don't have, so the power and the authority has to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
As you sort of grow up and you get a little bit more power, you get more responsibility, more power, more responsibility. And the responsibility and the power give you choices. So to me, those three things, responsibility, power, and choice, go together. So I'm always looking at, you said, like, what am I stepping up into? It's trying to remember that.
Yeah. Very powerful. Like, you know, I talk about it all the time, going from the old way to the new way.
Yes.
We're crossing the bridge. It's about putting you first, and it's about your responsibility, self-responsibility, and taking ownership for yourself. And realizing we can't take ownership of others people's shit. It's theirs. No. And I can take it back, right? Return to center.
Absolutely.
And step into your responsibility, because you're so right. It's that duality again, the responsibility and the power.
Hand in it. You can't have one without the other.
No, I'm getting goosebumps as we're talking about it. So it's very on. And so you're writing a book and you've got lots of programs and things, and you're really big on the stick figures and doing chakras.
Yeah, I started off explaining to people how the chakras, well, and we go right back to, you know, the energy flow, because I'm all into the soul, as you are too. You know, that is the step over the bridge. We are becoming more soulful. And the best source of power is your own soul, of course. So if you can connect up through your crown chakra and up into the new chakras that are opening up here, then you bring that power down through your heart and bring it into your solar plexus. So I started drawing little stick figures to explain it to people. So I'm always talking about my stick figures and explaining that flow of energy from Mother Earth up through the body, and then from the universe, from source down. So we have this dual flow of energy, if you like, and it's all about expanding the heart, opening the heart, living from the heart.
Yeah. It's like two lifts going up and down, down. But it's just so visually so simple that anyone can follow it. And I just love that and what you're doing. So, so when can we expect the book out? Putting some pressure on you now, babe.
I know. I've been working on it, as you know, for years and years and years, and I've stopped and started and gone, oh, look, it's all too hard and blah, blah, blah. But I'm determined to have it done this year. I hope to have it in my hands by Christmas. We'll see how we go.
Oh, right. Well, we've heard it now. It's on recording.
So yes. I'm putting it out there to the universe. We're manifesting.
To go, for sure.
Yeah.
And so your courses and all the information, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, on my website, maureencallister.com. And the courses will be up there. I'm putting some online courses on and breaking them, because it's the model of compassion. And it's looking at, okay, if you've got this beautiful flow of energy and, you know, you've got all your chakras all lined up and all your colors and your lights are on, you know, you go, how come I'm not working? Why is it not working for me? So I go, well, how did I get so screwed up?
Yeah.
You know? So again, it's the compassion for the inner child. But so I'm breaking bits of it down into like little courses. The whole thing's all going to be in the book, and I teach the chakras as a structure for how to help heal yourself and step through creating the new you as we move over the bridge, right?
Absolutely. And I have done your chakra courses, and I really love how you break it down to keep it not too overwhelming, and you work at your pace through it.
Yeah.
There's so much gold, and I can't wait for that book out.
So so yeah, like, you know, everyone's got to start somewhere. So I try to do a couple little intro bits. I love really explaining anxiety, and I love explaining like the physicality and that the anatomy, if you like, the anatomy of anxiety, you know, how our brain works and why we do the things that we do, where it comes from. And yeah, so all of that will be coming out in bits and pieces. I'm putting a strategy together and where the book fits in and where the courses fit in. So it's a, you know, it's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle and try and put it together, but slowly getting there.
Oh no, you've got so much wisdom in there, and to tie it all together after all these years of, you know, procrastinating and how do I deliver it? So now it's on its way, babe. You're nearly ready to birth it. You're in the first trimester.
Yes, I'm in the first trimester for sure. And as you know, they were constantly learning new stuff.
Yeah.
And you're going, what is this going? Well, I put this in the book, and you're going, slow down.
Well, you know what? You just need to do this enough.
That's enough. Yeah, don't bombard everybody with all of it in one go. So maybe there'll be a second and third book. Who knows?
Yeah, can't wait for that. Well, Maureen, thank you so much for having a chat with us today. I just absolutely love and adore you. You're just so real. You're just so real. You say it how it is, and it's like, why? Why is it so?
Sometimes it's not the kindest conversations. I had a lady the other day. So you and I could talk forever. I had a lady yesterday, and she's telling me about her family and the struggles she's having and blah, blah, blah. And then I said to her, I said, it's a bit of a martyr in here, a bit of a burden martyr. I mean, I didn't say it exactly like that. I tried to. But basically, I said to her, you're being a martyr. Do you realize you're being and all the consequences of that? And she kind of looked at me like, oh, God, really? I said, it's okay. I was too. And she went off kind of going, oh, my God, I have to work on my martyrdom, you know. And I said, no, you work on your goddess, because that's the opposite to the martyr in the chakras. And you go and be a goddess.
Well, I encourage
conversations.
Oh, hilarious. I encourage anybody who is looking for a detective or a private investigator to get to the bottom of their why, reach out to you, because you are the queen of why.
Yes.
Absolutely. The gloves
and we
are
keep on until we get it.
Yeah, exactly. And you seriously do. You rock.
Oh, yeah. Why is this? Why is that? Why are you doing that?
Well, thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure. Absolutely. I love what you're doing, Sally, and I love your channel, and the magic make is just wonderful. Well done.
It's time to have these conversations.
Yes.
You know, we've all got teenagers or know someone with teenagers, and let's not let them go through the burden of life like we have, and then in our older ages go, oh shit, that's that, and let's get rid of it early, because you don't want to have that burden all the way.
Absolutely. And I always say, when you're bringing up kids, you owe it to them to be the best you can be. So you need to clean up your own backyard in a way, you know, not being unkind, but heal your wounds, sort out your stuff, you know. If you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for your kids.
Yeah, and this is the time of awakening. It's like in parents' era, wasn't quite ready for it, but this is time.
But they didn't have choices then. They had to suck it up and get on with it. We don't. We need to transform it, you know, change it.
And quality of life, because we're not here for a long time, we're here for a long time. So let's make it happy, healthy, and wealthy on all levels.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, on that note, I say thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Al. No worries. Thank you. Bye.